There are times when I come across a deal such as this Falcon 800 watt 4-channel amplifier that I just have to get one to find out what it's all about and how in the world they're selling it so cheap. Now, speaking of cheap, my friend Mo let me know about this one on Amazon. $50 shipped brand new. Has a life warranty, whatever that means. But yeah, let's take a closer look. I had to get one in. This is kind of a midweek video here, so it's not going to be as detailed as most of my videos, but we're still going to find out what this DF800.4EX amplifier is all about from Falcon. Actually, they go by Falcon Evolution. I have no idea, never heard of this brand before, but this is, not unknown for Amazon for them to be brands that nobody has ever heard of that just kind of hit the market with super low prices. But the DF800.4EX is what we have here, which is a 4-channel amplifier stated to do up to 800 watts over 4 channels. And here's the ratings and here's the manual, which is very basic. It's only 4 pages, not a good manual at all, but it is what it is. And here's the amplifier. Not a bad looking amplifier. I've had people before say it kind of looks like a PlayStation, and it kind of does. But let's look at one end of the amp here. You see we have RCA low-level inputs. Then we have crossover switches for high, flat, or low for 4 channels. And it also has the other RCA input on the right side. Has a variable bass boost and a variable gain for front and rear channels. Again, not a whole lot going on here. First thing you'll notice is there is no variability on the crossovers. It's literally just high or low, and those are set at 80 hertz. So you're either doing 80 hertz high pass, 80 hertz low pass, or full range. On the opposite side, we have the speaker terminals, a fuse, as well as the power and ground inputs. For the speaker terminals, this is one of those 3 terminals for 4 speaker wires, and I never understand this, but yeah, the 2 in the middle there are ground. That's why they can be wired together. We have a 40 amp ATC style fuse. We have the 12 volt remote and ground. Those accept around 10 gauge, and check out the screw down terminals. We have the 12 volt and ground via hex wrenches and the other one via a Phillips screw. Anyway, ratings 100 watts by 4 at 4 ohms, 200 by 4 at 2 ohms, or 400 by 2 bridged at 4 ohms. That's all at 13.8 volts. You can see the amp here pretty small compared to my hand. As far as the actual dimensions, it is 7.2 inches on the long side, 6.6 inches for the width, and 1.9 inches for the height. Now I'll get the amp all wired up and fired up. You can see the blue LED right there in the middle, just beside the 40 amp fuse. How the speaker wires connected. Let's hook it up to the amp dyno so we can try out the true output power of this amplifier. On the left, you'll see the power output in watts. In the middle, the ohm load. On the right, the voltage of the dyno. Will also have the clamp so that we can calculate this amplifier's estimated efficiency.
You know how them sound waves go?
First up, we'll do the 4-channel test. Again, this is a 4-channel amp, and it only has 3 speaker connections per side because 2 of them are shared. Very odd. Can only accept about 12 gauge speaker wires, so we had to use 16 so we could wire a couple of them together. Let's try 4 ohms. Now, the amp is rated 100 watts by 4 at 4 ohms at 13.8 volts. Let's see what we get here. Certified to 1% distortion. Yeah, a little bit shy. Around 88 watts. Times 4. Let's try it uncertified up to clipping. See if we can get that 100 by 4 up to clipping. And nope. Literally about the same. 88 watts by 4 right at 14 volts. Now let's try the dynamic test. Maybe we can get the 100 by 4 dynamically. And no. Actually a little bit less. About 85 watts. Jumped up there a little bit. 86 watts times 4 at 14.05. Now let's set it for 2 ohms. It's rated 200 watts by 4 at 13.8. We're running the 1 kilohertz track. Certified test takes us up to 1% distortion, and it actually did better than I thought. About 163 watts times 4 at 13.8 volts. So again, not the rating 200 by 4, but much better than I thought it would do. Here's uncertified to clipping. Again, about the same, about 165 watts or so times 4 with the average. Let's try dynamic burst. And as before, not a whole lot of dynamic power built into this amp. We'll see why when we open it up. There you go, about 164 watts times 4, 13.8. Now let's bridge the amplifier. And the way to do that is the outside terminals. So we can use 12 gauge wire here when we do the bridging. And here you can see the plus on the left, minus, and then the plus minus on the opposite side. Against the 4-channel amp, we have it set for full range for the test. We're tying it at 1 kilohertz. It's rated 400 watts by 2. Let's see what we get. Here we go, certified, and no, about 330 watts times 2, which honestly, for a freaking $50 amplifier, is still pretty impressive. And here you go, uncertified to clipping, again about 333 watts or so times 2. Pretty crazy. What about dynamically? Can we get any more? And as before, the dynamic test is not quite as strong as the other tests, so right around 300 watts by 2. 303 and 304 at 14.24. Here are the results we pretty much just showed, the 4 ohm, 2 ohm, 4-channel test, and their efficiencies on the right. Right around 80% at 4 ohms, about 76% at 2 ohms, and then bridged about 76%, a little bit under the rated power. But yeah, again, it's only $50, so I don't know how we can complain. But let's flip it over and take some screws out of the bottom of the amp so we can take a look at the inside and see what powers this mini $50 Falcon beast. And here we go. See the flyover. And yeah, what's going on? Seiji Electronica, the D800.4 PTO. And here we have 4700 microfarad 25 volt capacitors, as well as 2200 microfarad 35 volts. And what you'll notice here at the top is these 2 little chips. That's right, chips off the old block. And these are power audio. And these are the power chips for this amp. It is a chip-based amplifier, and actually did better than I thought on the dyno. But how does it sound with speakers, you might ask? Well, let's find out. All right, let's rock it out with some Addict. So I ran the amp in the 4-channel mode powering 4 bookshelf speakers, then I actually ran it in the 3-channel mode powering a subwoofer on 2 of the channels, and yeah, I gotta say, it's pretty impressive for what it is. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of this cheap 4-channel amp. It's insanely inexpensive at the time of the video, $50 for 3 or 2-channel operation. It does have high pass and low pass crossovers, even though they're not variable. The price and performance, I mean, it's hard to beat. For $50, something that will power your speakers and not sound like garbage. It didn't sound bad. Stuff that could be better is overrated. 10 gauge power and ground are very small. The speaker terminals really suck. It has fixed crossovers, only 80 hertz, high or low pass. There is no 2-channel input switch, so you do have to use 4-channel inputs for RCAs. Reliability is unknown, but it has a life warranty though.
This is not a Mickey Mouse program!
But who really knows if they're going to be around to support that life warranty? I have no idea against a brand new brand, never heard of them before. It is only $50. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did, smash me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. And I always appreciate that. I know I don't always mention it, but I know a lot of people watch the videos and don't do either one. And leave me a comment below if you would do that. Let me know what you think about this amp. Till next time, this is Big D. I'm out of here. Yeah. Something really interesting I noticed when I open up this is the fan that was on the bottom plate of the amplifier's bottom. Look at it, man. Thing looks used. It's got all kind of dirt and dust inside the blades. What's up with that, Falcon?